Hi guys, we'll now learn how to dismiss keyboards and signal to users the authentication process, and take a look at best coding practices as well as modifying the code logic a little bit. Alright, first we'll let users dismiss the keyboard by touching somewhere on the view. Of course, to do so, we will first need the view to detect the user touch. We can do that by overriding the touchBegan method. To dismiss the keyboard, we can simply let the view do that by calling this. And editing method, the view, will look for the first responder and ask this first responder to give up its status. The responder is the text field in this case. Alright. We also need to dismiss the keyboard when the user hits the sign up button. So let's call end editing on the view in this action method. Okay, next we're going to make our app more robust to user input by adding validating features to the input text fields in the sign up and sign in view. So far, the app is working fine if user input is complete and in a good form. However, even if users don't put in anything at all, the app still tries to proceed. So for a better user experience, let's at least require that they use email and password text fields. It should not be empty or things like that. We're going to add validating ability to these text fields. Alright, we want to perform this validating step right after the sign up button is tapped. If one of those is empty, we'll show an alert. For example, if the username text field is empty, let's log to the console about the error. Okay, let's tap on the sign up button. Alright. Similarly, let's perform the validating for email and password. Simply copy over the one. Okay. Next step, we'll talk about how to report the authentication progress to users, how to show an alert in the app. This will greatly enhance the user experience. To do so, we'll use CocoaPod to install an open source library called Progress HUD. Their GitHub page shows you how to install the library. CocoaPod is the recommended way to install it. So let's add the library to the pod file. Then run pod install in the terminal to install it. Very good. Let's open up the sign up controller again. To use the new framework we've installed in this controller, we need to import it at the top. Then each time we need to show an error, simply call progresshud.showError. Then the error message. And do the same for the email password. And the avatar. Alright. We will now modify the create user method a bit. Instead of the dummy text, we'll save the text string of the email to the Firebase of new user. And show an alert if an error occurred. Alright. In the past, our dictionary didn't include username key values. So let's append to the dictionary a new one. It's the key value for the username information stuff. Okay. In the database, let's start cleaning the data. Okay. Let's run the app and see. Okay, we got an error. Okay, we need to unwrap these text fields because it is an optional. If all fields are empty and we hit on the sign up button, we'll see an alert. Alright, let's create a new user. Fill in all the text fields. Then hit sign up. We should see a new user that's created in the Firebase database with all the information we need. Alright, finally, let's start talking about best coding practices. We actually touched it a little bit before by factoring a big function into a small unit function to make the code more intuitive and readable. And their fundamental coding practice is to limit repetition now for certain tasks like authentication or database tasks. We now put all the business logic of the signup action into a method. Then we simply call it in the signup button did tapped action, so that the code will be more readable and we can easily see the big picture of the task. Our task is to validate the text fields, implement the signup logic, so simply call two methods for that task. Again, we put all implementations into the extension of the signup. Okay, we'll further factor this code to make it even more flexible. We'll create a structure named API, It'll contain static instances, for example, instance of the user API class, where we'll put all business logic stuff or methods of the user service like create user, sign-in method, and so on. Later on, we'll have another static instance such as message API when we start building the chat feature. It will handle all stuff about services method of the message node. All right, for now, let's create a new file that holding the user API class. Till now, we implemented the sign-in and sign-up methods. So let's put all those methods into the user API class. And here we can call API.user to create user API instance once, and use it whenever we need to call something inside the user API class. So let's say sign up. Because we've created the signup method in the user API class. All right, it's correct. All right, let's import the required framework to get rid of errors. We can see here we need the email text field value, the password, and the image data from signup view controller. Because we call this signup method from the signup view controller, so that we need to pass all those value into the method. All right, to do so, let's create input parameters for the signup method. Let's update our variables. The email text field now is the email parameter. And similarly, we update the password and username. Okay, the image data we'll handle later. Go back to the signup view. We call the signup method of the user API again. Then pass all input of the text fields to appropriate parameters. All right, let's leave these blocks blank for now. We passed a UI image to the signup method. So let's copy this stuff, then paste it to the signup method, because we need to convert UI image to the JPEG data format before uploading to the Firebase. Okay, all right. We passed a UI image from the signup controller to here, then convert it to the data format. Finally, upload it to the Firebase storage. So let's import Firebase storage before using it. Everything is good. The last thing we need to do is to show an alert whenever the signup process is done, so that we can know the result of the task. We call on success block if there is no error. We otherwise call on error block, then display the error message. All right, let's run the app and see. All right, we pick a photo, fill in the information, then hit sign up. The console should show the done string, and we have successfully created a new user. All right, see you next time.